So, of course, today we want to look at simplicity as a principle of graphic design. We shall try to define simplicity. We shall see how important is simplicity in terms of graphic design. And then we shall see how best can we apply that principle called simplicity. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So we are almost completing these principles because we are now on the second last, which is simplicity. So tomorrow we shall be completing the function. Okay. So simplicity is definitely the seventh key principle in graphic design. And this is what we are saying about simplicity. Can you help me read it?
Simplicity is the display of minimizing, refining, or editing back a design.
So do you understand those words, what they are meaning?
Yes. Somehow.
So what is your interpretation of those words?
Is the discipline of minimizing, refining, or editing back a design. Refining. Okay. You're having a design already.
Yes.
But you try to remove some things. Okay, you might have a design, but maybe it's kind of look complex, or it has a lot of things there. And minimizing, you try to remove some things, to decrease on the things you're having on the paper.
I love your interpretation. This is very nice. Actually, you are into it. So that is in a nutshell, that is simplicity.
Yeah, and refining, then you're like, let me remember, maybe let me look for other things. Let me put it this one. Let me, after minimizing some stuff, and like then editing back, and then you're like, you're like editing it back. I don't know. You're editing.
No, you've actually understood it properly. I don't need even to add other words. So simplicity is all about making sure you use the lowest number of visual elements to communicate, to convey a message. Okay?
Yes.
So there is a say in the design that less is more striking. That less, when you use less visual elements, then you are most likely to strike somebody's attention. You are most likely to capture somebody's attention more than someone who uses very many visual elements. Okay. So in a nutshell, with the simplicity, when you're designing, you should try to be as simple as possible. Avoid a lot of clutter, avoid using so many visual elements, which will end up confusing the person, and the person fails to understand what you are trying to communicate. We are saying we consider simplicity to ensure that a piece of communication has what?
Maximum clarity.
Yes. So if you don't apply the principle of simplicity, trust me, most of the time you are going to incorporate a lot of visual elements in your artwork. And the moment you use very many visual elements in your artwork, then you are going to bring a lot of katogo. I know that word. But when you consider simplicity, you should be able to ensure that a piece of communication has maximum clarity. Of course, the visual elements or the communication you are making will become clear enough if you use very minimum visual elements, if you use very few visual elements, which are simple and easy for someone to understand and interpret very fast. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So we also consider simplicity to help create balance. You remember when we talked about balance?
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to balance, if you want to make the best usage of the piece of that, to make the best usage of the space where you are trying to design, then you should also incorporate simplicity to help you to be able to balance the visual elements, their appearance in that particular surface where you are designing from. And since you're balanced properly, then trust me, that piece of artwork is going to create an impact to the person who is going to look at it. Okay?
Yes.
So simplicity is all about harmonizing, making sure that you have visual elements which are few, but they are communicating. So here we are saying simple design. When you do simple design, it is easier to understand and is more likely to make a long-lasting impression. The moment you make your design simple, you don't make it to look complex. If you make it simple, it is easy for someone who is looking at it to understand. I want to share a few designs. I want to share with you a few designs. Let me see. Let me just open a few of them. I'll begin with mine. And then I'll open another one. I'll open the one of MTN. Then I'll open another one that I have ever done for motif. Okay. So let me share them. Let me share them. So let me share the. So are you seeing this design? It is the design I did motif. You have ever seen this design? Not so. When you look at this design, is it complex or it is simple?
It's simple.
It's simple because, why do you say it is simple?
Because everything is clear.
Everything looks clear, and you realize that there are very few or minimal visual elements used. Because there are very few elements used, it is easy for someone to interpret this, to read this very fast within a few seconds, and somebody should be able to understand the message which is being conveyed in this artwork. Okay? So that is an example of a simple design. Let me share this one. Let me share this one, yeah. And then you will see. This one also you have ever seen. Yeah, there are quite a few. Just my picture, and then this information, and then this. Okay? Yeah, so you realize that when your work is simple, even things like balance, there is a way it is easy for you to implement. Let me share the one of MTN lastly. Look at a design like this one. Are you seeing it properly? So when you look at this design, it is simple, not so. So I'm sure somehow you might have come across a billboard having this very information. It doesn't have a lot of information, but trust me, it is communicating. Yeah, it is saying use MTN and get century points. And then they have given you here the procedure or a hint how you can get century points. Simple but impacting, not so.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how simplicity is applied in graphic design. Okay. So that's what we are saying, that a simple design is easy to understand and it is most likely to make a long-lasting impression. Trust me, when a design has a few elements, those few elements are easier for someone to remember than remembering a very complex design which has a lot of information. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so as designers, we should always make sure we make our designs to look as simple as possible. And of course, as you make a design simple, just know that you are applying that principle called simplicity. Help me read this information.
The ultimate goal of any piece of graphic design is to make an impression, hopefully a lasting impression. If a design achieves this goal, it will be fulfilling its purpose to communicate an instant.
No, and insist.
And insist upon a particular message.
Yes. Some of those words you are not seeing them for the first time. You have been seeing them for some good time. So I'm not going to waste time to even talk much. That's yeah.
Yes, like making an impression.
Yes.
When applying simplicity in design, we should avoid an overwhelming amount of visual elements.
We should avoid an overwhelming amount. Overwhelming. You understand what overwhelming means?
Overwhelming, too much.
Yes, you should avoid too much amount of visual elements. That's what we have been talking about. We are saying when you are applying simplicity, your design should be simple. You should use very minimal number of visual elements, which are easy for someone to look at very fast and understand very fast. Are we together?
Yes.
Yeah.
We should try and get across one strong idea instead of incorporating many.
You understand that statement?
We should try and get across one strong idea, incorporating many.
That's what we have been talking about. Like whenever we are designing, you know, every design you make has a main reason as to why you are designing. So you should identify one key element that you want to push out to the viewer in that design, instead of you pushing very many ideas on the same piece of artwork. You should look out for one key element, one strong idea, just like the way you see this one of MTN. You see this thing of MTN, there is only one element, one thing which is being emphasized, which is being communicated with this artwork. And what is that one thing?
Tanuka. Any point?
Yeah, it is about the century points. So because MTN is intending to communicate about the same key points, MTN doesn't have to involve with very many other programs within
Yeah,
this.
like night bundles.
Then there's this one of there's another one. This one of what are they called? There are those bundles, those data bundles which are having no expiry date. Yeah, I've forgotten. So how much MTN has many promotions or many programs running? MTN doesn't have to advertise all of them on the same piece of artwork. So MTN advertises each promotion on a different piece of artwork. That is basically what we are trying to say here. That that we should try and get across one strong idea. Okay, instead of incorporating many. Yeah, there your communication will be understood very fast, and it will stick into somebody's mind. Just imagine there are so many promotions being advertised. Trust me, of all the many, you will end up confusing the person, and someone will end up not having any of them stick in his or her mind. But here, when you are communicating about one item, that very strong one item will be retained in somebody's memory. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So you see, when it comes to this, you should always, customers, when they give you work, some of them will always, because they don't know these principles, some of them will tell you, I want this, I want this, I want this, all this, and this to be put on that artwork. What you do, you try to advise them. Don't just take each and everything they tell you to put on the artwork. Then you also put, at the end of the day, if the customer has given you a long list of the items that he or she wants them to be on the artwork, at the end of the day, trust me, you are going to fail to implement these design principles. And then people will start asking, who did this artwork? What kind of designer is this? Because once the artwork is just complex, once the artwork has a lot of things, trust me, to achieve or to abide by, to implement those design principles, sometimes it becomes so difficult. Yeah, so you also have to sometimes give a piece of advice to a client. Where necessary, if it needs to come up with the 2 or 3 different pieces of artwork, you can advise the client, rather than having all the services included on the same piece of artwork. You end up the artwork to be complex. So what are we saying here?
When considering simplicity, we should remove or edit down information and details that are not needed.
Yeah, I think that one is very clear. I don't need to add it, but it's clear. What are we saying there?
When you think of some of the most prestigious brands, it's common to see simplicity set on a backdrop of complexity.
Yeah, that when you think of some of the most prestigious brands, we are talking about brands like MTN, those big companies, MTN, Coca-Cola, Apple, Microsoft, okay? Most of the time, they incorporate simplicity as one of the key elements within any artwork that they come up with. So simplicity is taken as like a backup. It is a foundation principle that is followed when they are designing their work.
Mm.
Yeah, you can see when I showed you the other one with MTN, you really saw that there was a lot of simplicity. So even if we went to MTN's Facebook page, trust me, you would really see very many other items. Let me see when I come to MTN. So when I come to this, you really see an artwork like this one. Are you seeing it? Are you seeing this artwork?
Mm.
You see how simple it is? It's about winning 5 million every day. And somebody qualifies to win by simply buying airtime or data bundles. Okay? And that is a Momonyabo promotion. You see how simple it is? Try to look at this one. What is your next celebration? Let's create it. So there they are advertising. Of course, encouraging people to use these services, the internet bundles, the SMSs, and then making calls. Okay? Yeah, so simplicity is a very key element in graphic design. And we are coming to the end of our session. We are saying the more simple your design, the more easy it will be understood very fast.
The more simple your design, the more.
Yeah, the more simple your design, the more easy it will be understood very fast. You can reflect that from the previous examples that I showed you. And then we are saying too many things in a design will make it confusing and a bad expression to the viewer. So all that means that, in summary, we are trying to say we should apply simplicity to our design. Yeah. I don't know. Does it make sense? Does it make sense compared to your research?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have understood something about simplicity. Simplicity is here. The discipline of minimizing, refining, or editing back a design. That is simplicity in simple terms. Are we together?
Yes.
Did you read about branding or you're still reading it?
Oh, I read about it.
Not all. You didn't complete the whole document.
All, but by the time I was at the last, how do they call it? The last page. I don't know. I couldn't recall back what I read in the middle.
Now, you still take your time because we are almost approaching beginning now the design, practical design. So you really try to read that book again, then make summaries where necessary. Get the key points, key highlights, you write them down. Then tomorrow when we meet, you try to notify me of your findings on that book. So had you tried to research about function?
About function,
Yes.
yes.
You keep it for tomorrow. You share with me tomorrow about
But I didn't function. It seems it has other sex in it. The overview. I don't know why. And there was three I called, but I don't.
Do you know if you are searching, you search, just say function as a principle in graphic design. There will be for you at least very vital information.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, thank you for today.
Thank
I
you.
hope to see you tomorrow. Are you okay with the morning lectures like at 9, 10? Is it okay for you? So tomorrow we meet again at around 9?
Okay.
Okay, please. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
No worries.